What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I have kind of a late to the party review of the brand new Geprc Cinelog30 V2. This one has an F7 flight controller and it's an all-in-one, and you can get it analog or with the DJI-03. I'm going to fly mine today with my DJI-03 goggles, and let's talk about something about why this is kind of a delayed review, because, well, it's the holidays and there's a whole bunch of stuff going on in my shop. But I also wanted to take the time to fly this and get to know it before I just kind of got it the same day and reviewed it the same day. That's one thing that I want you to notice about this channel. I don't ever try to be the first guy out of the gate with something brand new. And I really do, like a lot of other reviewers, I hate the format of these companies trying to send us things before they get released, but then releasing them on a release date so that everybody comes out the gate all at once and you're required to release it on that day at that specific time. I can't stand that. And you know, we have these non-disclosures where we're not allowed to talk about things before they're released. So sometimes I'll be, you know, playing along with the companies and I'll say, okay, I'm going to release mine when all the rest of the reviewers do. And then there's like 8 videos of one thing. But, you know, in a way, that's good for you, the consumer, because you can kind of like get an idea from based on different channels and figure out, you know, which is your favorite reviewer or who you feel is the most honest, and things like that. So I've taken my time with this. Today, I've got all of my thoughts together after my flights. I've done multiple types of flights. We did some slow flying in the backyard to give you that Cinewhoop feel, and that's really what this particular quad is made for. It has prop guards on it, inverted motors. It's meant to fly super stable and give you that sort of cinema look that you're looking for. So indoor real estate, it's a little bit fast for that, but backyard, slow, proximity through gaps and things like that type of flying on this 4S850 battery, I think is a good combo, along with my TBS module in the back of my Boxer. It flies great. The tune is pretty good. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take it out to a big open field and we're going to fly it together. We're going to do some freestyle with it and see how it handles some big air freestyle, because this quad came back with duality, and there's one caveat about this quad that I'm going to share with you in this review. So if you didn't see this in the other reviewers' reviews of this and you get this quad, this is going to be a big thing for you if you own this quad. If you buy this quad and this happens to you, I'm going to show you how to fix it. And it may just save you tons of frustration, because I'm going to show you, I'm going to show you that all coming up. But first, let's go outside. Let's do some slow flying and do some backyard proximity and some gaps. We'll do some tree exploration like we talk about on the channel. And then after that, we'll do some freestyle on a 4S850. That's my choice for the Cinelog30 V2. So without further ado, let's go fly together. We'll come back to the bench and I'll share all my thoughts about this quad with you. Here we go.
Woke up today, smile on my face, may not go my way, still got my faith, so I'll be okay. I'll be okay, I'll be okay. Running our race, just at our pace, made some mistakes, but learned a few things, so I'll be okay. I'll be okay, I'll be okay. Yeah. I've been through it all, I've been through it all. Looking at Goliath at the stand tall. My heart, it feel like David every time I fall. My problems look like giants, I'ma slay them all. Every single beef, I had to let it be. Spend a lot of time wasting energy. That ain't made sense to me logically. But I feel way better when I walk in peace. Please don't bring the gossip to me. I mean, no offense, I'm finding out jealousy, only a lack of confidence. Focused on me more, focused on you less. Everybody do that, look around and we blessed. Woke up today, smile on my face, may not go my way, still got my faith, so I'll be okay. I'll be okay, I'll be okay. Running our race, just at our pace. Made some mistakes, but learned a few things, so I'll be okay. I'll be okay, I'll be okay. Yeah. I know the pain you felt, I felt it with you. I know the hate you feel is scar tissue. Unhealed trauma is trying to kill you. But come back to love, man, we all miss you. Hey, life is like a seesaw, it's up, then it's down. It's all about progress, you can't stop now. Take a step every day, look back and see miles. Could make it to the top if you stop looking at the ground. Today, smile on my face, may not go my way. Still got my faith, so I'll be okay. I'll be okay, I'll be okay. Running our race, just at our pace. Made some mistakes, but learned a few things, so I'll be okay. I'll be okay, I'll be okay.
Okay.
All right, guys, welcome back from the flight test. This is the box that you get. Okay, guys, on the scale, it's 188.2 grams. If you add a 4S 650, that's going to get us up to 266.8 grams. So if you want to get this under 250 grams, you're probably going to have to use something like a 4S 550. That should do it. Now, with my preferred battery, the 4S 850, that's going to get us up to around 281.4 grams total takeoff weight. Okay, so there is the Cinelog30 V2. I have the HD edition. There's also an ELRS version, and you can also get a PMP option. So you have 3 different options for buying this quad: without a receiver, with an ELRS, or TBS. So without a receiver, it costs $359. With an ELRS receiver, it's going to cost you $376.99. And with the TBS Nano RX, that one comes in at $394.99. So, I mean, who is this quad for? It's for people who want to do kind of close in proximity, up to probably 50 miles an hour for any type of fast flying FPV cinema style shoots, or if you want to do maybe some larger indoor real estate, because it is quite punchy on the throttle. So I did notice at the high end of the throttle, it has quite a bit of lift. So you have to be careful when you're flying through proximity things or flying through small gaps. As far as freestyle, if you wanted to use this one, say you're a brand new guy, you're a beginner, and you wanted to use this as your FPV trainer for flying acro, learning how to fly acro, this will be pretty cool because it does have prop guards on here that are pretty decently tough. It also has built-in LEDs. this is the 3-inch inverted motor format on this quad too, so it is kind of a good mid-range before you have to jump up to something like a 5-inch quad. So, and it will support up to about a 4S 1100 battery on here. So I flew the 850, which I feel like is a good kind of middle ground between like something like a 4S 650, an 850, and the 1100 milliamp battery. The 1100 milliamp will fit on here with a larger strap. I also feel like that the strap that came with this one in the box was a little bit small. It does accommodate something like the 700 milliamp battery or the 650, but when I tried to put an 850 on there, the strap that came in the box, the two straps, they didn't fit an 850, and that unfortunately was my battery of choice for the Cinelog30 V2. Now, I think one of my favorite things about this quad is the upgraded LEDs that are kind of embedded in the bottom all the way around the prop guards. And if I plug in this battery, I can show you that they're also on a switch, which I like a lot. It's already set up in beta flight on a switch. It is on it's on auxiliary 4. So I have it on my SD switch on my Boxer. And if I flip that switch, they go off, which is pretty cool. So I think they're color changeable inside Betaflight. I didn't play around with them a lot, but I love that they're on a switch. And right now, with the way the world is, when I'm flying out there, a lot of times when I'm flying lately, I'm just going to turn those off because I don't really want to attract attention. Now, like I mentioned before, this is an AIO flight controller in here, and it does have 45 amp ESCs. There are 32-bit BL Heli firmware on here, so that may be controversial to some of you guys. I know it was a big thing that came out a while back that Mads Tech talked about it, where he did call out that it's not an ESC firmware that you can update later because, well, we all know that BL Heli has gone private and they've closed down operations due to the ongoing wars around the world. They don't want to be a part of that. So they've kind of stopped giving firmware updates to possibilities of using them for nefarious purposes, which totally sucks for the hobby. However, I did a poll on my channel a while back and I asked some of you guys, will you update your ESC firmware? About 35% of you guys said yes, I will at some point, and the rest of you guys pretty much said no, I never update them. I just kind of fly it how it comes. Now, there's a caveat with that where if you ever need to update these, you can't. But I would say that in my history of flying all these different machines on my channel, I've very rarely updated to the next version of an ESC firmware unless it was an issue where we had a while back, we had a version of BL Heli that would, BL Heli 32 to be exact, that would cause flyaway. And this particular firmware version that's on here, it doesn't it's not that one, so you don't have to worry about that. It doesn't have that problem. So if you look a little closer in here, you can see the wires are soldered down to the board from the motors to the ESCs, and that is going to be, I believe it was a 20 by 20 stack. It is the Taker F722. So that's another reason why it flies so good, is because it has a great tune on an F7, and a lot of times Geprc quads come out of the box with a nice tune on board. So I do like that it has an F7 flight controller on board, and the power system on here is 1404 series SpeedX branded motors. These are Geprc kind of native style motors. They are 3850 kV, I believe, on those particular motors. We do have 4 M2 bolts holding these on. This is that polycarbonate style frame. You can see it's not like completely true carbon. A lot of these companies have moved to using this sort of carbon composite, which is kind of nice. It has this top coat on it, kind of makes it look a little nicer. And again, we do have that inverted motor style. One thing that I wanted to talk about is that there's not a lot of clearance between the motors and the components underneath this frame. So if we look at where some of these wires are routed in the back here, and this is where I can get super critical about Geprc. See how this propeller moves right over top of that wire right there. This is actually your TBS Nano stuck in here on this slot back here, and it's super tight. I had to get it out to bind it up, but there's not, maybe, I guess there's probably about, you kind of see in here where this prop goes by, that Nano RX. I probably have about 5 millimeters between that and the RX. So if there was ever any real blade flex, you might end up hitting this RX right here. You can see how it kind of touches right there. So that's where I can be a little critical. You just want to make sure that when you get yours, make sure all these wires are nice and tucked in here. I think Gep did a great job of making sure everything was tucked in, but that's definitely something that you want to be aware of and look out for with any of these Cinewhoop builds with all these external wires going around close to the prop guards and the motors and the props. And this next bit of information is going to be great for you if you already own any of the Geprc Cinewhoops out there, something like the Cinelog or the Cinebot. A lot of these quads, they have these miniature grommets, and years past I've praised these miniature grommets because they're ultra lightweight, they're much smaller, and they save a lot of weight on the frame itself. You know, even a couple grams here or there really does help. Now you can see that it has a larger camera mount right here for, say, something like a DK GoPro, and then underneath it there's these little tiny micro groms. And I hit our grapevines in the backyard, and it was literally hanging from the grapevines, and when it did, it broke these two micro nano grommets off. You can kind of see this little piece of filament sticking out right here. That is a piece of Dynaline. So if this comes off, it will be the hardest thing you ever do to try to put these grommets back through the bottom of this camera suspension frame right here. And the way to do it without destroying this grommet with, say, a pair of tweezers or something, trying to stuff it through that hole, it's almost freaking impossible to do that. So the way to do it is go to Walmart or somewhere like a fishing store, get yourself some of that what they call spider wire. It's I believe it's also called Dynaline. What you can do is you can tie a knot around the bottom part of that miniature gimbal, and then put the string through all the way down, and then you can pull it through, very carefully pull it through, and that will get that mini grom and your camera staging back onto the frame. Because when you do hit something with these mini groms, unfortunately, this camera can become, this staging right here can become disconnected from all of this. There's two on this side underneath and two on this side. So something to look out for if you have a crash with this quad. That's maybe one caveat. Again, like another caveat, making this one not the perfect design, but something you're going to have a lot of patience for to be able to fix. And then just go ahead and take a pair of snips and snip off the extra line. Don't try to pull it off, because you're going to obviously pull it back out again. So that's how you can put your miniature groms back into your camera staging. And again, my battery of choice is the Tattoo R-Line batteries. I love these. They're the 4S850s. You're going to have to upgrade your strap to a little bit bigger. And once you do that, I really think you can get close to that, 8 minutes, 30 seconds like they claim on the website. And they're claiming you can get 8 minutes and 30 seconds on a 4S 720 milliamp battery, but not the way I fly. So yeah, if you fly a little more aggressive on the throttle, you're probably going to want to fly an 850 or something like an 1100 series battery. I also flew some of those, and those are nice, long-lasting batteries. I mean, and this quad is, this is a 3-inch quad on this particular motor-to-motor setup. So it's a good size quad with some decent size motors for freestyle. So 1404s, they're a little on the larger end of the scale for this size or Cinewhoop. So it's going to definitely give you good power at that high end of the throttle range. It's going to really give you a lot of punch. And so, the thing that I didn't get to test was, thankfully, durability in this particular test. I didn't hit any concrete or really have a super hard crash, but I did fly into the grapevines, and thankfully it hung there on the grapevines. It didn't fall into the wet grass. So it came back in one piece. Now, as far as getting to things in here, this is a really tight, compact build. I think it would be a little harder for beginners to work on this particular type of layout, because everything has to be really precise when you put it back together. Taking it apart, not super hard, because we do have a bolt here, 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 and here to release this cage for the O3. And it does feel like some really hard injection molded plastic. It's a little more streamlined than what I've seen in the past for some of these cages. You do also have 4 bolts on the bottom that seats the O3 in place and kind of holds that in place. But everything's accessible to the SD card slot, USB-C, and over here is your bind button for your DJI Goggles 3. And you can fly this one on the Goggles 2 and the 3. So that is what it is, guys, on this one. I would say it's good, but it's not perfect. It does take some patience for these mini groms. But overall, I think you'll get a decent flight time out of it. And if you're patient with some spider wire, being able to fix these mini groms, if you're the kind of person that's patient, this quad will be fine for you. But if you're somebody who doesn't have a lot of patience, the mini groms are probably not for you. So keep that in mind. It will make you want to go, the old episode of SNL where Jim Belushi kills himself with the samurai sword. Yeah, that's probably about where I was at the point right before I realized, oh, I could use, spider wire and pull these little mini groms through. I was trying to push them through with a pair of tweezers, and it was impossible. So yeah, now that you know that, you can check out my link down below. And if you enjoyed this honest review, please do definitely subscribe on the channel. And I may not be the first to release videos, but I will be the person who takes time to test things before I come out with my reviews. So you can always count on that on this channel. I will take my time and I will bring you my honest thoughts about each and every brand new FPV product. But this one was a fun one, and I have high expectations for Geprc, you guys. I hold them to high standards, and this one probably wasn't completely what I was thinking it would be. So I will leave you to the comments below. Please do make a comment, like, and subscribe on the channel. And I'll definitely see you guys on the next one. Merry Christmas. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.